We have another interview for the channel. Yes! Today I got to talk to my friend Debbie O'Brien. Debbie just landed her new job at Nuxt as head of learning, and this was the opportune moment to interview her on how did you get that job, what is your way of working, how did you challenge your cultural differences, stuff like that. Next to talking about her job, we talk about the fact that she is a valuable professional for Google, for Microsoft, for Cloudinary, also for me. If I have a question, I'll go to Debbie. So we talk about 40 minutes, maybe a bit longer, and there's a lot of insight, there's a bit of vulnerability, there's a bit of fun. This has been one of my more favorite interviews. So, without further ado, this is the interview with Debbie O'Brien from Nuxt. Hi, Debbie. What's up?
Hi. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Sorry, that feels so rehearsed, but it's fun. It's all good. Okay, so let's dive right in, right? So, you are Irish, you live in Mallorca, you work for a French company. What's the story here? Would you mind elaborating a little bit?
Well, I'm Irish, but it rains a lot in Ireland, so I moved to Mallorca, and I've been living here for 20 years now.
Whoa,
Yeah, so I'm half Mallorquin now at this stage, half Spanish.
basically.
And yeah, I started work recently, this month actually, working for Nuxt, which is a French company. So
Yes.
yeah.
So, have you noticed any well, you've been there for a while, right? But have you noticed any cultural differences and stuff?
With Spanish companies, yeah, I mean, I can't say with French because I know Sebastian Alex quite well, so there's
Mm.
never been a problem. But with Spanish companies, yeah, I mean, people always say I'm too direct. No, it's like the Irishness in me. I just come out and say it straight as it is, and I'm very honest and just like say it as it is. And I think other people are not used to that kind of way of being. So
And having been there 20 years, do you know how to navigate it now, or is it still the same? Like for me in France, I'm still rude as hell.
I actually got a book, a few books actually, which I was studying, and it's on like empathy and on working with different people and how to understand people. Because sometimes it's actually not just culture, it's also people are different. So depending on the type of person you are, you always have to like treat them a little bit different. The likes of me and you, for example, I would expect if you come and work for me, that you're going to deliver as good as me and as put as much time and effort into things. And then Saturday and Sunday are going to spend the weekend studying nonstop, right?
Yeah.
But not everyone is like that. And some people, it's just a job for them. They do things different. So you can't expect the same from every single person. And I think learning about people, it's even better than learning just about cultures because it's not just culture, it's people that are different as well.
That's very profound. We're first question in. Yeah. So, with that in mind, you just said you expect people like basically who are a little bit like you and me. Like if you work together, that you work hard during the week, and in the weekend you study a little bit, stuff like that, right? As a woman in tech who is actually super driven and honestly freaking awesome, like you're the one of those that I just see and I'm like, whoa, this is the one. This is awesome. Do you notice any bias from men? Like I've heard other women saying like they were given feedback about, hey, you're so career driven. And like if you say that to a man, it's actually positive, but to a woman, maybe not. And it's like, have you had any similar experiences?
I don't really think so because I grew up I have three brothers and a sister. So I grew up surrounded by boys. Where I lived as well, there was a lot of like lads. I used to play football and do Taekwondo. So again, constantly surrounded by guys. And I think like when I started in tech, etc., I mean, I was always the only female programmer. So it was never really anything I saw as different because when I was playing football with the lads, I was the only one female footballer as well. And so I guess I've never had that experience where what guys I don't know, like I even say like hey guys to everyone and that includes girls because I'm
Mm.
just so used to, so I don't really have any bad experiences. But it is true if you look back, all my job interviews have always been guys, all any programmer, except for the last job I was in, pretty much every other company was it was just guys. It was just I was the only girl. But that never felt anything strange to me because that's the way my life has been in most of my sporting and um, I don't know. So yeah, I haven't really had a problem, I guess.
Oh, well, that's great to hear because the lesser problems we hear about, the better it is, I would say.
Maybe I'm just so used to how guys are, and so that when they say things, I don't take offense or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that might be a potential problem there, but
Yeah, I'm used to like going out for drinks with the guys in my local village in Ashford in County Wicklow, and if you were to like just be around them and hear the conversations, you have to be able to just take a slagging, as we say in Ireland,
Mm,
and just be part of the guys, just because you guys talk differently to how we girls talk, and you can get in with how the guys are. Again, it's understanding people as well, I think.
yeah, it's just I guess it's also being sensitive to the differences and stuff, right?
Mm.
So, I've known you maybe 2 years now. I think something like that.
We met last year
Or
for
is
the
it
first
less?
time on a plane. We
Yes.
were traveling together, and you got on the plane, and I saw in the message, and I said, "Come and sit beside me." And then you checked over my slides, and I was speaking for the first time at my first View conference.
Oh yes, I remember this because it was a really bad flight for my wife. Her ears hurt or something, I think. And then I slid over to you and we worked together. And I came back and she was pretty upset, but I didn't realize.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't
it's
tell me you had a wife on the plane until
no, I
after,
was
and I was like,
stupid.
"Oh my god,
I was just,
I feel so bad."
anyways. But yeah, I was bad. It's all me. And anyways, I'm not gonna go into it because yes, it was all me. But so it was interesting to see that your career in tech wasn't that old by then. You hadn't done it that long, but you're already at such a high level. So I just assumed you were in tech as long as me, and you weren't. So would you mind like explaining a little bit like the before and how you got there? How did you get interested?
Well, actually, I've been in tech for quite a long time, but not in tech for quite a long time. So I started
Mm.
about 1997, I think it was. And I built my first website when we didn't even have the internet, so couldn't even see what it was like when you put it live because it's a very Irish thing. No, you build a course and you teach it, but you can't actually use the internet. So again, we had no editors back then, so it was just like using Notepad and writing HTML code, and
Yeah,
CSS was pretty rubbish, and JavaScript was just marquees going across the screen and blinking, and that was it.
I remember
Um,
those times. They were fun.
yeah, they were fun, but it meant that things were very boring. So I did get my first job, and I was working with Dreamweaver and computer manuals and things like that, text, and it was very, very boring. So I left, moved to Mallorca. And while in Mallorca, I was working on the stage, having fun as an entertainer, and in the winters, traveling the world and just kind of having fun because you only have work in the summer, and then in the winter you've got no work. But then I started going back to studying. So some of the winters I went back and I studied PHP, I studied Flash. Then I started building Flash websites for customers like bars and local restaurants. And then I went into WordPress, then tried to get into like the big companies, no. But again, I was a foreigner in a small island in Mallorca. So trying to get into tech was very, very difficult. Maybe as well, maybe because I was a woman. I don't know. I don't like to, stereotypical
Mm.
it, but yeah, I couldn't get a job. I actually only ever worked for a German company or like an English company or a company that wasn't Spanish. And again, maybe as well because my Spanish wasn't as good. I mean, I spoke fluent, but I never studied Spanish. So my vocabulary was great, but my grammar was terrible,
Oh
which
yeah.
meant at a proper interview, I might have came across as someone who was not going to be very professionally good, no, or my written Spanish was terrible. I could only learn how to write. I learned through WhatsApp, So, so I think there was like a mixture of things. So after a while, I worked for a few startups and built some. Like I did a lot of front end development, so I was very, very good at HTML and CSS and very good at SAS. And they all kept running out of money, like one after the other, after the other, after the other. So I was constantly out of work, which meant I had to go for another career, which was teaching English. And I was like, basically doing two careers at the same time. And it was 3 years ago, exactly 3 years ago, that I started learning JavaScript, because I couldn't get a job if I didn't know JavaScript. Basically, every job description you need React or JavaScript or so many, like any framework under the sun, and I didn't even know what they were. So I started studying again, and basically gave up every job I had. So my teaching English and the small WordPress websites I was doing, and I studied full time for about 7 months, 9 months. Um, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, like pretty much locked myself into this office here. And I just studied. I did 3 degrees at the one time, a full stack tech degree, a front end tech degree. And I was also doing a postgrad in Spanish language, just in case, I didn't get this job. And I had my fallback plan to then become a teacher full time in one of the actual schools, as opposed to a language school.
You are actually blowing me away. This is insane. So you're basically in tech way longer than I am. You're maybe a slightly older, but not that much. So you just found your way the way as life just happened, I guess.
No, no,
Yeah.
I don't think I found my way as life just happened. I went through a lot of personal problems, and I kind of ended up in a very deep, dark hole
Mm.
that basically put me in a way that I didn't want to do anything. I didn't see, I couldn't have children. So that was a big issue for me. And my career was crap. So I was like, what am I here for? Um, Life is crap, basically. And I didn't even really see what I had. Like, I live in this beautiful island, I have a beautiful husband, my apartment's great. Like, I have a lot of good things, right?
Mm.
But all I saw was what I didn't have and what everyone else had. You can't have this, and that's what you see. And I was very sad. I was very down, and I didn't know how to get out of it, to be honest. It's not easy. You don't just like take a tablet, or someone doesn't wave a magic wand and say, okay, be happy. And I wanted to be happy, but I
Yeah,
couldn't. I
clearly.
didn't know how to do it. And it was a friend that came along and said, I want to help you. She said she was doing a dream builders course. And I was kind of like going, yeah, this is, not really very much of interest to me, but I wanted to spend time with my friends. So I was like, okay, I'll come along. And yeah, the dream builder course was the one that basically changed everything for me. Now, it was a slow process. It wasn't just like, it was every single week. I had to find out what my dream was. I had to go back and decide, what is it that you want? And of course, like at the time, it was different. I was like, what my dream is, and the hospitals couldn't make it happen. So
Mm.
this is a load of crap, this course. And she was like, no, no, no. If time or money was not in the way, what is your dream? And if you think about that for a second, right? If time or money is not in the way, and then you go, okay, so I can be anywhere in the world, and I can be any age in the world. I said, well, then I want to be a programmer for Google. That's my dream. I said,
Wow.
but that's never going to happen because I live in Mallorca and I'm no good at programming. So therefore, it's not going to happen. And obviously, she was like slap in the face.
Yeah.
Everything is possible. And I didn't see it. I really did not see it was possible. I like 3 years ago, I can tell you, I just thought this was never, ever going to happen. I could never do this because I had studied JavaScript. I'd spent 6,000 euros on courses, and I had failed so badly for so many years. I couldn't do it. And with the help of the Dream Builder course, it helped me build my confidence in myself, and also find the right tools, the right company that was going to help me learn. So like Open Classrooms and Treehouse were the ones I
Mm.
used. Having a mentor, for example, that was really helpful. So yeah, it
Wow.
was a long journey.
Yeah, and like everybody's different, right? And I'm amazed by the fact that you actually found the spark you needed to actually do this. And that must have been a pretty big hurdle to overcome, right?
I think I got to the stage where if I don't do this now, if I don't fix my life right now, I'm going to be unhappy for the rest of my life.
Mm.
So I put absolutely everything into it, which included all our savings. So every single penny we had. And I like I said, I quit my job in the language school. My husband was like, Debbie, you can't leave a job if you don't have another job to go to. And I
Mm.
was like, no, I need to do this. I actually just need to do this. I put my life on hold. I didn't go to the beach. I didn't do anything. I just studied, 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 which is probably why I'm like taking in this whole confinement really well, because
You're used
I
to,
did it
yeah,
for myself. Yeah,
yeah.
I made it like 7 months, so I can And it was hard even back then. I just remember saying to my mentor, I just want to see people. I want to speak to
Mm.
people. Like, this is so hard. And it is really hard, like working remotely, studying remotely, not seeing people all the time, not interacting. But yeah, I knew I had to do it and I gave it my all. And I'm lucky that I have my husband who supported me so much. And like I said, it wasn't easy. The Dream Builder course, I think it was 12-week course.
Okay.
So I kept building and getting better and better every single week. And we had exercises to do of, how to help you, believe in yourself more. And like it's incredible the difference from when I started in that course to where I am now. Like it's just incredible. But I recommend it for anyone to just, yeah, do kind of one of those courses or read a book on how to get the most out of life.
I think this is, you're now the second one telling me a similar story of having something else going on, not managing to get out of it or trying to, and then actually finding this technology thing and then turn things around and then just like go all the way up like you did.
Yeah.
And I think this is just so great to see that technology is able to give us this, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, my wife, who has like some chronic illnesses, and now during Corona, she actually is not going to be able to work anymore because she cannot be too close to people,
That's
at
really
least
sad.
for a long time now. And now she is in touch with the people I have also interviewed before of how can I change myself to actually learn and do something in tech? Because I would say tech is the field
Yeah.
to change your career around, right?
That's
And
really cool about your
so,
wife that she's
well,
learning.
well, she's working hard. It's not easy. Well, it's not easy,
Yeah.
right? So now you are a developer advocate for Microsoft, Google, right?
No, no, not a
What
developer
was it
advocate.
again? Oh, I'm so stupid for not knowing. Please help me, because I'm
A
going towards.
Google developer expert, a Microsoft most valuable professional, and a cloudinary media developer expert. So that just basically
Isn't that
means
all similar? Was I wrong
no, because
completely? I
I
don't
don't
know.
get paid by them and I don't
Ah, okay,
represent them in any way. So
okay,
I'm basically just, it's like being, how would you say it? It's like they're recognizing the work that I do for the community. So it's a recognition, and it means that they're recognizing my work. And so they help me and support me. And it means I have access again to like a load of amazing people and can ask, like the Chrome dev team, for example, questions, etc. I'm part of, part of that, but I'm not an employee or not paid by them in any way, and therefore not
okay.
representing them officially or legally in any way.
Yeah, my words were wrong, but what you just said is what I meant. But like, imagine coming
You get
from
me
the.
kicked out of the program.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. No, but like, imagine coming from where you came from, and now you're basically in this dream position, and you all did that yourself, and now you just started at Next. And
Yeah.
if you weren't famous already, now you are definitely. And so, but here you actually work there, right? So, would you mind explaining, first of all, how you got there and what you'll be doing?
So it's really strange, right? I'm going to tell you a story. How I got there, I think it goes back to a year ago. So it was a year ago at the first View conference I ever attended to, which was View Amsterdam, and I wanted to speak about Nuxt, but I kind of felt like, who am I to talk about Nuxt? Maybe they won't want me to talk about Nuxt. So I wanted to get introduced to the Chopin brothers to ask them their permission so that I could speak about Nuxt in a conference, which obviously they were like, of course
Of
you can
course.
speak about Nuxt, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just felt like, I'm not good enough to speak about Nuxt. So I wanted their okay. So then I, felt I could do it. And it was actually at that weekend that in View Amsterdam last year. And I was walking with Sebastian back from, I think it was from dinner to the hotel, and he was telling me all about his plans for Nuxt. Like it was such an amazing conversation, and I was just like, wow. I think that's when I really fell in love with Nuxt. I'd been using it already for a year. I was already in love with it, but that
Mhm.
was the moment of wow, this framework is amazing. I love their vision. I love what they want to do. And I spoke about Nux then in View Verona and then in Barcelona and in Alicante. So I got to meet up with the Chopin brothers again, like week after week. It was kind of like we spent a month pretty much touring Europe, you
This
know?
is great.
It was so much fun. So I got to know them really well. And I had great chats with Alex Chopin as well. And like, he wanted me to be part of the Nux team. And I was like, no, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough for Nux. All I've just done is written a few talks. I'm not good enough to be there, but I really want to be like part of the Nux team. And this was just like contributing, right? Not a job. This was, but I wanted to be like a Nux core team member. This is my goal. And I told him that. I said, I want to be Nux core team member, but I want to have done enough to get that. And when the day comes that I've done enough work for Nuxt, that I get that, and they say, you're now, I don't know, like you've done enough that you deserve it, then that's the day I want to be like part of the team. And then that happened. And I never ever thought I would ever work for Nuxt, right? Because Nuxt is open source. So obviously if someone said, what's your dream job? Nowadays it would have been like, to work for Nuxt, but you can't work for Nuxt because it's open source. So that's not a job. That's not a possibility, right? Obviously then they got the funding in February, which changed everything. So I'm going to tell you a longer story, if that's okay.
Of course.
So I think things kind of changed when I went to the Jamstack conference in San Francisco. So while I was there, I was having a chat to Chris and to Matt, who are the co-founders of Netlify. And I was kind of like, just in a conversation saying like, because Netlify is an amazing company. And I was like going, oh my God, I would like love to work for Netlify. Now, recently, about a month before that, I think it was, I had dinner with Sarah Drossner, and she was saying, why don't you apply to Netlify? And I was like, yeah, no, I will, definitely. I would love to work for Netlify, but I'm not good enough yet, so I won't be doing that yet. And she was like, when do you think you'll be good enough? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for Netlify.
To interject, you keep saying that, and after your first talk for Nuxt, you were ready for Nuxt. I saw you because I was there, and you were actually representing them better than they were themselves. But okay, continue. Probably the same for Netlify.
I think it's more my programming skills that I doubt myself in more than anything. Right? And remember, I have only learned JavaScript 3 years ago. So, this is like now 2 years ago, whatever. So yeah, obviously I doubt myself, which is normal. But yeah, so while I was in what is it? It's an ice cream museum. Right, okay. We're in an ice cream museum, and we went down a slide into a bath of ice cream sprinkle things, like obviously like wooden or not real. So we're in this massive bath of ice cream sprinklers, and that's when I had a really, really lovely chat with Chris and Matt about working for Netlify, or about working, kind of more about it, like a person. Like they asked me a personal question of what do you want? What is the job that you actually want? And I was kind of like going, I want the 100,000 a year. That's what I want. And he's like,
okay, you went that route.
Yeah,
okay. Sure.
And he was like, but is that really what you want? And I was like, I don't know. And I thought for a moment, we had like this conversation about an hour long, right? But I thought for a moment, and I kind of went, you know what? I know what it is I want. For me, it's always about the team. For me, the team is the most important, and it's always been about the team. And if I go back to looking at what I wrote down, when I said my dream was to work for Google, Google could be any company, but it's a team. It's the people who make Google, right?
Yeah.
It's not the office and the cool slide they have. That's great, but it's about the people they have, the amazing engineers, and how they help to make you better developers.
Yeah.
So I basically said to him, you know what? It's about the team. So I want to work for Sarah Drossner, for example, because she's amazing. She's like, my role model. So to work for her would be incredible. That's the kind of, direction I want. That's what I want. What is the job I want to do? I said, I don't know. Like, is it developer advocacy? Am I good enough for that? And I wasn't really sure of what I wanted, but I kind of knew I wanted to work in Sarah's team and do more kind of like advocacy stuff. So anyway, this conversation led to them putting me forward for a front-end position in Netlify and putting my CV at the top of the pile.
Whoa.
Right? Which, like, yeah. And I was in the bar with Matt, and I told him, yeah, but I don't want to be bored in work. And he laughed and said, you will never be bored in work if you work for Netlify. Because in all the other companies I was in, sometimes I was getting bored. We weren't going fast enough for my liking. And then I got bored and stuck. And I was like, I don't want to just be the front-end developer on this, I don't know, a small project. I want like really big things to do.
Yeah.
So it was really funny because they were just laughing, and then when I got the email through to basically say, okay, so to apply for it, this is what you need to do, etc., to go through the application process. And I basically sent an email back saying that, you know what, I'm actually not good enough. My React skills are, I haven't like worked at React for about 2 years now, and I don't think I'm really very good for this position. And I basically just talked myself out of a job. I basically just shut a door in my face, which is the most stupidest thing you could ever do. But maybe I wasn't ready for that position either. So, and also maybe it wasn't the job I wanted. So it was a front end role.
Mm.
And I kind of did want more to speak at conferences and stuff. And, that might not have allowed me to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but it kind of, got the ball rolling and got me thinking. So then I started kind of like, looking into like DevRel jobs, and kind of like, there was one for Cyprus, and I contacted them, kind of like looked at it and said, this looks cool. But
Yeah.
they can't hire for people in Europe. So it wasn't possible.
Right.
Then I saw one for Hasura, and I was like, I read through it, and, like I didn't even think I was good enough. So I sent it to some speaker friends of mine and said, can you read this and think, do you think I would be good enough for this
Oh,
job?
you sent it to me, I think, also.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did. That's
you did.
right.
I told you, yes, go.
Yeah. So I was like, can I do this? So I applied for it thinking, I probably won't even get it anyway. And I had 2 amazing interviews with the co-founders of Hasura. And it got me really, really excited in the sense of like, okay, I could actually get this job,
Yeah.
and I could actually do this. And I was like very, very close to it. And then what happened? Then I went to View Amsterdam, and I was at the conference. And while I was there, I was like, having just general chats with, other speakers, and saying, that I was changing jobs, and I'd had 2 interviews with Hasur, and I was maybe going to work for them. And I was really excited about it because I really love Hasur. It's absolutely amazing. And as I was talking to people, actually, I think you even kind of like mentioned it to someone else. And then I ended up having like a mini interview in the speaker's room, which was
yeah,
crazy.
I remember that. Yeah, that was all my fault, I think.
Yeah. So when I was sitting down with Sebastian Chopin, and he was telling me what, they just got the investment for Nuxt, and he was telling me about what their plans were and how I could help out more and do more stuff for them. And they could like, there was kind of like some payment to do kind of some hours or something like this. And I was like, that's cool. And he said, you can still keep doing your job. And I was like, well, I'm actually leaving my job. I'm going to work for Hasura. And I didn't have the job with Hasura, right? But I was just confident-ish.
You were ready to go, basically.
I was ready to go. Yeah. And he just went, what? No way. And I was like, yeah. And he says, no, I can't let you work for Hasura. And I was like, why?
Nice.
Like, and he says, no, there's no way. I will kick myself if you end up working for Hasura. And I was like, but what? I would still do Nux stuff at the weekends and in my free time, like as I'm always doing. And he's like, no. And that was it. Like, there was nothing really more said. And then they arranged a call the week after. And that week after the View Amsterdam was a crazy week for me because I had like 5 companies calling me to offer me work, right?
Wow.
Which was just crazy. Now, remember, it took me so long to get like my jobs and so long to get to where I am. So to 1 week without even like really applying for jobs, for people to call me up and say, we want you to work for us. And they were really good offers, really good companies. And it was like, oh my God. But when Sebastian and Alex called me and they told me that they want me to work for them full time, and when they said, your title is Head of Learning and Developer Advocate, I was just like, wow. And then, wait for it, then they said this. We want you to be the Sarah Drasner of Nuxt. And I was like,
yes.
Oh my God. Like, obviously that means you want me to be up there and I'm here, right? So I have a long way to get to Sarah Drasner's level, of course.
Which is fine, isn't it?
But it gives me a goal, and it gives me something to work towards. And it kind of like, that's what they think I can do it as well, which I think for me is cool.
Yeah.
And just like Sebastian saying he was going to do pair programming with me because they know that my programming skills need more work. And, I kind of like the fact that they know my weaknesses and are willing to help me build on those weaknesses, which is going to make me better as a programmer and better in my job as well.
Well, you know it yourself also, which is super important, right?
Yeah.
You're reflective, you think about things, and that helps a lot. And you know, I have a quick anecdote on this because we actually spoke to each other when I was in a train on the way to work or something about potentially that you would work there, and you were so happy talking to me about it. But we were actually talking about this Hasura thing before, so I
Yeah.
already knew you would choose, but back then I don't think you chose yet. But
No, and the funny thing was, Hasura sent me this lovely email, and they kind of said to me, you know, that they really, really like what I've done and everything there, but would I be willing to do less view stuff and more GraphQL stuff and like not
mm,
go to as many view conferences? And it kind of like, got me thinking, am I ready to leave view behind and not leave it behind, but not be my focal point, right?
mm,
And I was kind of like going, no, I really want to work for Hasura, but I really want to work for Vue for Hasura Vue and only do Vue stuff. I
yeah,
don't really want to start doing React and Angular stuff. And that
yeah.
was kind of like it was a really lovely from them to kind of like put that thought in my mind of as if to say like, is this what you want? And I kind of went, right now I'm not ready to leave the Vue stuff and work just in that area. But maybe next year, another year, who knows? So like that door is always open for me, which is great. And I'm going to be working with them to build some cool Nuxt and Hasura stuff, etc. So
Well, I
we'll
can
still work together.
imagine you're gonna spread your wings at one point and going from a front end dev to a web dev, and whatever comes on your path, you can probably just learn because of your experience, right?
Well, I'm hoping to have lots of fun with absolutely everything that is Nuxt, right?
Oh, clearly,
But
these guys are ready to. The sky is the limit. Like, I've spoken to the
wow.
guys a lot. I know them. I like the guys, and the stuff that they explain to me of what is the plan for the future is like, man, you have a job for a long time there, and you're gonna be doing some cool things.
For sure. I don't see myself like leaving anytime soon. And it was funny because when they gave me that phone call, obviously like, I didn't say yes straight away. I said, first I was like taking it all in and kind of going like, is this even real? Like, I need it in writing. I need to like, send me an email with all this so I can read it
Yeah.
over and kind of like, take it in. And I went to bed that night and the next morning, I said to my husband, I said, I'm taking the job with Nuxt. And he's like, "Debbie, you took that already yesterday.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
have to
Like
tell me
you
that.
knew.
In
Yeah.
your heart, you'd already said
Yeah.
yes." And he was like, he wanted me to go for the secure job in the local company in Spain because I had a job offer here, and I also had a good job that I was in. And he's like, why don't you stay in the job that you're in? Because that's a really good job as well. And and you're going to move to a company that's like really as a company, it's a startup company, right?
Mm.
Because they've only got the funding and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but no, I need to, I can't, no, I can't stay where I am and I
Yeah.
can't go to another local company. I said, I cannot say no to Nux because, as well, if you think about it, imagine I said no and you got the job. I would hate you for the rest of my life.
Okay, well, that's your answer there, right? This is the
Yeah.
yes. Like
I
I
was like,
always say, if it's a hell yes, go. And if it's a
yeah.
yes you have to think about, maybe say no.
Yeah, I think we're always afraid, right? And I'm always very cautious. So you're afraid to kind of like, it's like someone gives you that door. So it's like when that Netlify door, it was like, that was too good to be true. So I
Hmm.
decided I'm going to close it because, it's too scary, right?
Yeah.
And going to work for Nux is obviously really scary for me because it's like, I have to now basically do an amazing job because everyone's going to see every single work that I do, right? And
Yep.
whereas you in a small company, then only that company sees it. But now the world is going to see my work and they're going to see my mistakes, my errors, my flaws, and then obviously like the things I do well. So it's very scary, but it's
Yeah.
also like so scarily like exciting that I just like, oh my God, it's just, yeah, it's like a dream job. And like when I told my speaker friends from the Antarctica conference that I was at,
Mm.
and I told them about it, they were like, just, yes, this is the perfect job for you. Like everyone has just said, this job was meant for you. Like this is just, yeah. So it's amazing. I love it.
Perfect, right? Anyway, so we kind of now in this interview know what you're really good at, right? We've talked about this.
Talking, I'm really good at
No,
talking.
no, no. We're not gonna go the other way. I want to know what you're good at that nobody knows about. Is there something, let's say you do at home or whatever, that you're like a mega star at that actually us viewers that know you from the community actually don't know about?
I don't know because I don't. We're very bad at like kind of saying what we're good at, right? Because I'm always saying like I'm not good enough because I'm not as good as that other person.
Hmm.
But I've recently learned to kind of like say, you know what, actually, I am good at that. And it's really hard to say that. So I'm going to say it. So I'm really, really good at Taekwondo. And
Okay.
I'm a fourth degree Taekwondo black belt. And what helped me believe that I was actually good at it was it was very hard for me for training because I had to train on my own on my roof terrace to be able to go for my last grading, the fourth degree one, which is a really hard grading to pass. And I used to fly to London for classes the weekends and then
Hmm.
fly home, like have classes with masters and with like really amazing world champions, etc. And then just on my own, just train so hard to then go into a grading, 7 hour grading, and come out of it feeling like, you know what, I did good. And that feeling was like, yes, you know what, now I think I'm good. So
So,
yeah.
quick question. The training on your own, is that pure technique or is it endurance? What do you do? Because I see like this super cool person on a roof terrace somewhere in Mallorca standing there doing their shit. Is that what it is? Is it like a movie moment?
So in Taekwondo, there's a lot of stuff to do, right? We've a lot of patterns that we learn, and obviously, like when you're doing the patterns or forms or what some people call them, there are movements like kicks and
Mm.
sometimes that are like really, really difficult. You know, having to hold a position, having to get that position right. So that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of repetition. It's just like programming. You need to keep like practicing and
Keep it
repeating
up.
it, and then
Yeah, yeah.
it gets easier. So at the time in Mallorca there's no actual taekwondo club for the style of taekwondo that I do, which is the ITF taekwondo. So that meant the only way to train was on my own. I did run a school a couple of years ago, and I had a school and had students and stuff, but then I closed everything when I gave up everything to learn programming.
Yeah, sure.
So then I just started training on my roof. And when gyms were actually allowed, I used to go to a gym and I'd get a corner and just I remember even like getting the sack right, and I had to like practice because I had to break wood with a flying sidekick, and
Okay.
yeah, and that's
This
really
gets
hard
more
to practice.
serious.
When, it's really hard to practice on your own, right? Because you
Yeah,
got no
sure.
wood. So I actually got some guys that were like in the gym to just hold my camera. And I was like, can you just take a video of me? And then I would like practice it and then watch my video back and say, oh my god, that's so terrible, and then like keep repeating it and repeating it. So yeah, um, perseverance.
Exactly. So, with if we think back on this whole story, right? There's a couple of hardships to overcome, a couple of good things that came from it. So if you had, let's say, like a big billboard, let's say on a big highway that everybody sees all the time, is there some mantra that you have in your mind or some saying that you use or a motto that you would put on that? And if so, what is it?
Well, I will give you one, which is believe in yourself.
Okay.
But I would actually have it computerized, so it's changing. So then I would say like you are awesome, and have it constantly putting out different messages. Because what I found was when I was studying on my own, I bought one sign which said good things are going to happen. So
Okay.
this little sign, and I had it right beside my computer, and every day I'd look at it and say maybe today is going to be the day. It took months, absolutely months of looking at that sign until that day came that I got the job. And then you might think, right, now you've got the job, now that's it. You
Mm.
believe you're amazing. And no. So now I have, and my husband's great because he allows me to do this. So in the entrance where I walk in into my house, and where you take your shoes off and stuff,
Mm.
I have all these signs up. So I think I've got 7 signs now.
Whoa.
And
I
I
like
look
it.
at these things every day. Things like you're amazing, believe in yourself, dreams do come true, change your thoughts and you'll change your life. Just like so many different kind of ones, and some are quite long as well. And then I program Alexa as well. I say, Alexa, good morning, and she tells me the weather. And then she says, Debbie, you are amazing.
Oh boy, this is great.
And it just sets me up for the day.
Yeah.
So normally I'd be walking out my door, right? Now we can't walk out the door. But sometimes you just need somebody else to tell you, because I have the voice in my head that's constantly saying, you're not good enough, you can't do this,
Mm.
you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be here, you don't deserve this. And I need that little kind of, and now it just makes me laugh. It makes me smile every time Alexa, and then I can hear my husband in the other room. He just laughs because it's every single day Alexa saying, Debbie, you are amazing. And it's
I think more people need this. Is this is one of those Alexa recipes? Can you like put them online so people can download them?
I actually said it for my mother as well, and she's in the kitchen, and she says good morning, and Barbara, you were amazing, and she's like, yes.
Yes.
So funny,
It's
and the
perfect.
energy that comes out of my mother from it, she's just like, because she is amazing, right? But we don't tell her, and we all, like her kids, her husband, we all say my mother is amazing,
Mm.
but nobody tells her because we just presume she knows. So Alexa now reminds her every day, so it's good.
This is fun. I love this. This is the most innovative answer I've had on this question in all interviews. So thank you for that. That's super cool. I have one last question, and it's almost the most important one, and especially for you because you go to so many conferences. Like I think last year you might have done like 3 per month or something.
Someone.
So I know at every conference you get stickers. So what do you do with all those stickers?
This is the worst question we could finish with, because like I don't have an answer to that. I actually don't know what to do with them, right? Because I worked for an agency where I went to really important clients where you couldn't really go with a computer stuck with stickers. It just doesn't look good.
Mm.
The only sticker on my computer is the Microsoft MVP sticker, because that's kind of
Yes.
like, very good for companies to see that.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I still have my company computer because we're in lockdown, and I haven't been able to go to the shop and buy a computer, and I also can't see them to give them back their computer and do the changeover. So, but I'm so used to having a nice clean computer that I don't even know if I want to put stickers all over it. I'm not really that kind of person.
Same
So
for
they're all in a
me,
box.
to be honest.
Yeah,
But
I was thinking of getting a photo frame and
okay.
like just behind my wall, like having a massive one and creating a picture and putting them all in there. So they're all in a box. I don't have an answer. I don't know what I'm going to do with
So you
them.
do keep them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm also not really someone who puts them on their laptops because I have fancy clients to go to. You kind of want to look good, but also nerdy enough. So I did it once, and then I got comments from clients, and like, okay, I took them off again. And now I just usually grab more at conferences and give them to all my colleagues. And actually, that seems to be a nice one because people tend to, like, if they don't get to go to the conference because of learning budgets that year, cut, stuff like that, at least having something like that is a nice extra.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I do. But like, I have a lot of colleagues in a big office. That's not something you have, at least not now. Nuxt will have it,
No.
but just not now.
Although I'm sure, like, people would love for me to send them some Nook stickers, for
Oh,
example.
yes, exactly.
So maybe when we can get out of lockdown.
Yeah. Listen, this was great. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank
We
you.
always have a lot of fun when we see each other. Now we have lockdown, we do it in a virtual way. So thanks again.
No worries. It was great being here. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.